There it goes. Okay, sorry about that. I was having streaming problems with my internet connection. I was saying that we have all of these glorious trend lines, and every time we see these trend lines made our signal better. Only if we paid attention to them. Right now, I want to point out some actual opportunities. You know, the trend got broken once, and then we saw one more downtime right on this correlated line right here, right? Look at that, right on the correlated line. Bingo, bingo, correlated line. And every time that trend was reversal, this is a stronger signal. A much stronger signal, right? This is a strong signal. It came down, it touched this correlated line again, it bounced off of it. It came down, it touched this correlated line again. We're going to see a bounce off forming. There's very clearly a trend here. Okay, so look at what can happen. What could possibly happen? Could we see a bounce off of this line up into this trend line? This trend line that got projected off of the top right here? Right there? Could we see a bounce back up into the trend line, followed by a full-on breakdown down into this line? Sure we could. Would that set us up for an opportunity down here? Yes, it would. Put your buy orders in down here. Put your sell orders in up here. Now go sip Mai Tais on the beach and wait for something else to happen. Okay, this is the simplicity of automation, is let the exchange do the work for you. Go and put your orders in according to the plan. Let the exchange do the work for you. And when you tire of putting orders into the exchange by hand and making the plan by hand yourself and staring at charts yourself, you will know the change that is required. You will know what is needed to help you to stop having to log into websites and take numbers out of spreadsheets and put them into exchanges. Because that's ridiculous. That's insane, right? But we have to go through it. We have to go through the computations that the automation will do in order to see the value of the automation. Okay, so I've shown you trend lines, and I've shown you what's it called, the support and resistance. Okay, I now want to show you a different type of indicator, a different type of automation. Okay, we're going to make a new spreadsheet, and we're going to look up an old classic called the RSI. The RSI stands for Relative Strength Index, and it's an indicator that measures momentum in an automated way, measures trend in an automated way. Okay. The RSI is a mathematical formula, and it's equal to the following. 1 minus 100, implement the RSI in order to automate looking and finding trends. What we want to do is we want to take these numbers. These are numbers. Let's take the close. This is a green candle, so the close is here. This is a red candle, so the close is here. Red candle close here, green candle close here. The red candle close was 0.3. Let's call it, right? The green candle close is 0.32. Well, let's use some slightly bigger numbers just to make this a little easier here. Let's, instead of saying 03, 032, let's just, use some whole numbers. Let's say that our close was 30, followed by the next candle was 32, 33, we'll call it. It went to 36, went to 38. Right here I'm going to say that it went to 34 before it went to 36, 38, just to make our numbers interesting. It came back down to 35, went up to 39, went down to 34, got really volatile, dropped down in a big flash crash to 26, came up to 28 because that's what markets do after a flash crash, is they come up a little bit, and then went to 27, 29, and 30. Okay, these are the close of my imaginary market that I just made up. And what I want to do is, according to the formula, I want to figure out the average gain. So what I want to do is I want to measure the average gain and the average loss. Now, obviously this is 0, okay? From here to here, we gained 3. We obviously didn't lose anything. From here to here is 0. From here to here we gain 2. This is 0. From here to here we lost 1. That's 0. Here we gain 2. 0. Here we gain 2. 0. There we lost 3. We put that in the loss column. Here we gain 4. 0. Here we lost 4. Here, lost 4. Here we lost 8. Lost 8. 8. Here we gained 2. Here we lost 1. It goes in the lost. Here we gain 2. And finally, we gain 1. Okay. We now have the average gains and the average losses. What we want to do is we want to compute the average over a moving window, which is to say that, let's say we want our average moving window to be 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we're going to do is we're going to take these 5 windows and we're going to compute the average of them, right? So this would be the average of C2 to C6. I'm sorry, B2 to B6. And this would be the average of C2 to C6. Okay. Here we have the average of B3 to B7. And this is the average of C3 to C7. Now, through the miracle of copy pasta, should be able to do this. And sure enough, that worked quite well. Okay, because each one represents, the average of B3 to B7, the average of B4 to B8, and we now have these two numbers right here, the average gain and the average loss. Okay, what we want to do is we want to now compute what we call the relative strength, which is basically this computation right here, the average gain and the average loss. That's easy enough. We simply say D6 divided by D, or E6. And for some reason that's, yeah, no, that's right. Okay. And then we can just copy pasta that down. Okay. Then what we want to do is we want to compute the RSI, which is 100 minus 100 divided by, and then we can just write this right here, right? 100 minus 100 divided by 1 plus F6. Okay. Now, what this has the cool effect of doing is plotting our volatility over a scale of 1 to 100. That's what all the 101 and minus and plus and all is all about. Is we're going to plot the ratio of motion over a movement, right? So let's go ahead and make a chart out of the closed numbers here. Okay, that's not quite the chart I'm looking for. There we go. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make a chart out of... You can just ignore these values in the beginning. Actually, they should be 50, 50. We don't have signal yet because there just wasn't enough values in our computation to compute our moving window. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say... Okay. What we're measuring here is we're measuring momentum. In times when the price went up, the RSI went up. But in times when the price went sideways, like it mostly did here, the RSI did a return to the middle. Okay, let's correlate these two charts in time, right? Right here, we're seeing the price go up, and so we're seeing the RSI. Right here, we're seeing the price go up, so we're seeing the RSI go up, okay? But right here, we're seeing the price mostly do some sideways action. This is sideways action for the most part. So you see the RSI do mostly a return to 60, mostly a return to 50 because it's sideways action, okay? Then the RSI starts falling out. I'm sorry, the chart starts falling out. And so does the RSI until we get some sideways action and return on the RSI, okay? So what can we say about this? Well, we can say when the RSI goes above 80, was probably approaching a good time to sell. Sure enough, we were right? RSI above 80, right about here, was probably a pretty good time to sell. Pretty much the top of the market. Okay? RSI above 80 right here. Pretty much the top of the market. Okay? What about when the RSI went below 30? Here's our below 30 right here. Right here. Was this a good time to buy? The RSI is actually indicating to us in an automated way when momentum is moving in one direction or another. It's doing that by extrapolating the moving averages of the gains and the loss and then plotting them over a scale of 1 to 100. Now, is anyone actually going to come in here and do this craziness? Because this is craziness. Crazy, crazy, crazy. No, obviously not. What they're going to do is they're going to come in here because this is pain, is telling you a change is required. You want to get to this minus this. Come over here and you click on this button right here, indicators. You type in your search box, I want the RSI. And there is the relative strength index. Now what this is doing is doing exactly the same computation that you just painfully watched me do with basically no effort at all. What is the RSI telling us right here? Was this a good time to buy? Was this a good time to buy? Right? Did the chart turn around right here at this moment? Look at the vertical correlation in time. Did the chart turn around right here and give us some profit? And even if you missed out, could you have made it right here if you had been fearless in your buying down here? Had a plan in place that would make you the money? Okay. What's it telling us now? Is it telling us that the trend has reached a low point, but not necessarily the lowest of the low points? That we could still potentially go lower, down into here? That momentum has still not, we've not seen enough momentum to really consider this the same type of motion as this one? According to the RSI, we're not done yet. There's still lower to go. Or it could bounce off of here and go sideways. We don't know yet. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know that the RSI has told us we've been mostly in a bear market for a while. August and September have seen some real downtrends. April saw some real uptrends, according to the RSI. This is more optimization, and this is a form of automation. What you're doing is you're looking at trend lines automated. Here's the math for the automation, which you need to understand. And here's the result. The result is that you can take this information and use it to optimize your signals. If we're at a resistance or a support point or a historical support point or a historical resistance point, then we increase our buy in our plan. If the RSI is below 20, then this is a valid buy point. Otherwise, the RSI keeps us out. Right now, the RSI would keep us out. Right now, the RSI would be telling us not to buy. If we're looking for trend reversals, this was it. This was the opportunity back here. This might actually be signaling, that the trend to go down has run out. This may be the end. But right now, being down here, I'd say we still have room to run. Or what you may see is historically, I'd say that this is exactly what I'd look for. I'd say we're probably about here. Precipice of coming back down more. But what you need to understand is what that means is you better have a plan in place for buying down here and buying right here. Because what if it's wrong? Think I can predict the future? You're wrong. If I'm telling you that you need to buy here, well, you better have a place to buy here. A plan in place, and you better have a plan in place to buy down here too. What I know is that eventually we'll see some reversal. I'll make some money. If I do this across enough markets, I'll make a lot of money. And if I do this at the right time and I coordinate my actions with other people, I will greatly increase my efficiency. If I sit here and I study charts and look at what my indicators tell me, I will greatly increase my efficiency. But nothing beats having a plan for allocation. Nothing comes in and beats coming in here and having a spreadsheet that tells you exactly how much you're allocated into each opportunity and what your DCA is, until that becomes painful. and you desire change. Because you're sick of doing the numbers, you're sick of typing the formulas, you're sick of all of the ridiculous spreadsheets tabs across the bottom that tracks all of your opportunities in real time and pulls in data in real time, and it doesn't even make a trade yet. You haven't even made a trade yet. You haven't actually made a trade yet. You haven't made any money. Wax on, wax off. I promise you that this will all come to a conclusion that makes a lot of sense. But for now, you must understand how to create good plans based on actual signals with these indicators. Now, next time what we'll do is we'll walk through even more indicators, and I'll show you some even more really cool ones. But what I want you to do now is I want you to go back and study how correlated the RSI is. If the RSI was under, see, it says 30, we'll come in here and adjust it. Instead of saying 30, it's going to say 20. There, see how the line moved? If the RSI is at 20, was it a good time to buy? Boy, I'd say it was. Was it a good time to buy? Kept us out of that. Okay. But what about down here? Good time to buy? Good time to buy? I'd say it is, right? Coming down here, I'd be keeping us out. If we bought here, we don't need to buy again. The RSI is telling us it's not time to buy. Should have bought back here. Should be definitely making a plan for down here. Hopefully we might see this. We might see a turnaround. And that's where you make all your money. Now, the next time I'm going to do this, we will do both more indicators, and I forgot to do accounting this time because I got distracted with other things. But the point of accounting is that you can change the way that you will make your plan in such a way that you can either do one of two things. You can increase your assets, or you can increase your you can increase your assets at zero cost, which is to say you can get more ether. Or you can increase your Bitcoin, which is to say that you're investing with your Bitcoin and you're trying to make more Bitcoin. Okay? You can do one or the other, but you can't do both. And if you're worried about your Bitcoin cost against your dollar, we'll trade Bitcoin against the dollar. Because that's how you hedge against the dollar. And if you're worried about the dollar value, then trade dollar, not Bitcoin, on this side. Right here. This should say dollar, or USDT, or whatever it is. This is important. Please don't mistake. I'm not showing you how to get rich in dollars unless you're trading in dollars. I'm showing you how to get rich in Bitcoin. And if your plan is to get rich in Bitcoin, then this will work really well. If your plan is to get rich in dollars when this is doing this, well, you better hope that you're making more Bitcoin than Bitcoin is going against the dollar. That's on you. You have to remember that if I turn this chart, if I flip these around, Ethereum and Bitcoin, all I'm doing is I'm turning the chart upside down. Every time that Ethereum loses value against Bitcoin, it's the same thing as saying that Bitcoin gains value against Ethereum. It turns this chart upside down because now Bitcoin is gaining value against Ethereum. Well, if that's what you want to make your money in, then flip the chart around. Make more Bitcoin than Ethereum, right? This is about making your assets for zero cost instead of making your dollars, instead of making your counter, I mean. Okay? If you're worried about dollars, then trade dollars. It's the only thing I can tell you. It's the only answer. You want dollars, trade dollars. Do DCA with USDT. It works exactly the same. Just whatever you do, make sure that you have a plan in place for allocation and a plan in place for distribution, for how you're going to make your money. And next time we'll go over that plan that we had for distribution we were making, because we didn't cover distribution at all. We only covered allocation with the dollar cost average. But in reality, it's exactly the same, right? If you 64 positions here, because you 32 positioned here, and you 16 positions here, and you 8 positions here, and you 4 positions here, well, why wouldn't you do that in reverse? Why wouldn't you sell 32 positions here, and 16 positions here, and 8 positions here, 4 positions here, make your money over and over and over and over again, and make more and more and more money? Well, there's your plan for distribution. It looks like turning the chart upside down, because now the chart is going up and you're making a plan. These concepts, they've got to be ingrained into your head. And doing it without the tools is the way of the trader. So remember to plan the trade and trade the plan. And that is the way of the trader. I really look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. And please remember to bring your studies with your RSIs and your trend lines and examples of broken trends. Thank you very much.